actually, it is a personal struggle with me.
Please tell me.
In organizations, in sales teams, it's implied that you need to be a team player. It's also implied that somebody is always the top dog and somebody's always at the bottom and most people are in the middle.
Okay.
They're not all, they have separate compensation plans. And so I've always heard that it's a team player type of thing, but we all don't share in everybody's commissions.
That's right.
So is it really true that there's no I in sales?
Hard. That's a tough question because, I see it from a couple different ways, right? When you are part of a sales team, you have to be a little centric to your position there with the organization. That's a big piece. When you are managing a sales team, you're riding that line of trying to bring the group together, make sure the culture is right, put some spiffs out there, get everyone engaged and make sure that they're positively growing their business in a way that's helping the company, all of those things. So there's two clearly different roles going on.
So is it more accurate to say there's no I in sales management? But there is an I in sales as the salesperson.
Agreed, 100%. And because although I believe that you should always foster a culture within every organization that's team related. Hey, if I don't meet my quota, that's on me, man. If I don't meet my goals, that's impacting my compensation. Right? If I don't do what the company is expecting me to do, or the level of expectation that I put on myself, that's all about the guy right here sitting in front of you. So
yeah, see, that is a problem, and I've always hated that. Sometimes you go to these organizations, and if the whole organization as a group reaches a certain level, then you get a little extra spiff in your commission.
Right.
And so it always creates a discontent among the troops because we're human beings, and human beings, there's always a top dog. There's always somebody lagging behind. Most people are in the middle.
Yeah.
There's only a few people at the President's Club.
That's right.
So I think you're absolutely right. There's no I in sales management.
Right.
But the salesperson needs to be looking out for number one, which is themselves and their family, and do the best they can. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that. That's not being selfish.
Right.
If you do the best for yourself and you improve for yourself and you make the most commission for yourself, that helps the whole company.
That does. It does. And let's make sure that the listeners, as well as, those that are watching, don't get this wrong though. And that doesn't mean that if you're one of the if you're one of the salespeople in the organization that performs at a high level, you're always number one or number two. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't help mentor those within the organization to help them get better. Like, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't share your experiences and share with those individuals, because you do want at the end of the day, I want the company to be healthy. I want the company to succeed. I'm going out and I'm hunting and I'm making my way if the compensation plan is built the right way. But I also have a desire for the company to succeed.
Well, not even the company, just the individuals that ask for help,
right,
and all that you want them. But what's the best way to help them? I mean, you can give them all your knowledge and stuff and all, that. But what is the best way to help someone who wants to succeed? And you're a sales manager or just maybe a top producer.
Yeah.
and they come to you, what's the number one thing I can do for myself? What could you offer to them?
You got to share the secret sauce. You know what I think the best thing you could offer them is explain to them the failures that you've had. So then you can actually educate them on, hey, stay away from this, right? Whatever this looks like. Because I tried that a few years ago when I first started, didn't work. You know, so I went through a pretty hard road there to get to where I'm at today. And then let me share with you what's working. And, you know, be open about it. There's no Coca-Cola formula here. I mean, there really isn't. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have to be under lock and key. I mean, you can actually you can actually do something that's going to help to impact the team and the organization in a way, and it's going to make you better too. Because, you know, I have never met a top performer in any sales organization that doesn't love the competition. I mean, so if you're helping to make the team better, guess what? That's pushing you more too.
Yeah, I'm going to agree and respectfully disagree
Please.
On one aspect of it. And that is, I don't think you're doing anybody a favor by preventing them from going through the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that when you say, I've never met a really successful salesperson or any person, business owner, entrepreneur, that hasn't made thousands of mistakes and felt. You got to feel. Someone could tell you how to run through fire, but until you feel how it feels to get burned, it's not the same thing. And I think it makes you a better person. I say, if someone says, I want to try something, I would say, do it. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
You know, see what happens. And I think that makes you a better person to have that. And the fact that they'd ask it, you just got to, I think as a leader in sales, you need just to encourage people to continue doing it.
Right.
It's so easy to quit when it comes up to that. All right, good. So we got that. I got another question for you because I wrote a few down here.
Okay.
And this is really important because this happens a lot to salespeople who talk themselves out of sales that they have already. So you work really hard to get a prospect. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of marketing. You spent a lot of money. It all comes in. Everything seems to work in progress as it's supposed to. You reply to the person, you give them a call, you set up a call, you have a meeting, and they say yes. Now what?
They've actually said yes to purchase the product or service that you're...
Or get the appointment of whatever it is, but they actually say, yeah, let's say purchase the product. They say yes. Because there's I found a lot of salespeople will kind of hold back from asking for the order because they kind of know that as soon as you make a sale, you lose something very important. You lose your best prospect.
Right.
You lose a little hope. You know, now what am I going to do? I got to start again, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But when the person says yes, oftentimes they keep talking themselves out of a sale. What should a salesperson do after they hear those words?
First of all, they should shut up. You know, if you get the sale, don't continue to sell, right? You're already there. Now, the junior salesperson just says, great, I got the sale. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Shakes the hand, leaves. The more experienced senior salesperson, they don't want to buy back what they sold, today. They don't want to buy that back tomorrow. Right. And what I mean by that is buyer's remorse is real. Now, whether we believe it or not, it truly is real. So let's just take your example and say, you're selling to an organization or a company that they're purchasing your product and service from another organization, and they've been doing that for years, and they're the incumbent vendor, right? They're the ones that have been providing this to them for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, who knows? And so you've gotten the prospect to say yes to becoming a client, all right? So then at that point, now you're asking yourself, okay, well, what should I do next? Well, there's a compartment for that, and it's called the post-sale compartment. And so it's very easy to lay this down because you already know, you've gathered all the right information, you know that they've purchased that product or service, you know that they probably have a relationship with this vendor. You know all of that because you've uncovered it throughout the whole sales event, right? So at the end of that, and they've said, yes, we want to move forward, we're going to go ahead and sign the contract and get moving with you. First of all, you want to set up a time frame for that to happen. So you have a very clear understanding. If it's a contract that needs to be signed, let me ask you, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, when is that going to be completed? So just that easy. So when is the contract going to be signed? The second thing is that, again, you have to make sure you're uncovering the landmine before it explodes. And what that is let's say this is a big account. You don't think that the incumbent vendor is going to know that they lost it? And you don't think that they're going to come back and beg your prospect, now your client,
cut the price and all that stuff.
All of that stuff. So what do? We bring our fear right to the forefront of the conversation. And we say to them, listen, Dan, we so much appreciate your business. You said you're going to get the contract signed on Tuesday, which is perfect for us. I got to ask you a tough question. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Yes.
Great. This is a big account. We're really excited to move forward with you, and we're so happy that you've chosen us to go forward with. But I got to ask you, when XYZ company comes back and they've realized that they lost the business, and they say, Dan, you know what? We're going to cut the price. We're going to do all kinds of stuff to try and get you to stay with us. We're going to move, heaven and hell. What's that conversation going to sound like?
Oh, yeah, I haven't thought about it. But listen, we're done with them. We've already turned the page.
Because
of all the things we talked about before, I'm not going backwards.
Okay. And you know what, Dan? I'm sure that's the way that conversation is going to go. You're a man of your word, so I know that's probably exactly the way it's going to go. And I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Now, have you ever gotten that and then the person cut the price in half, or we gave it away for a year or something like that, and they called you back and they said, you know what? It's too good. I can't pass it up.
True story. A $200,000 a year account in the electronic services business. I'll just say that. We're providing them with services that were software as a service. Okay? True story. So, $200,000 account, big account. The incumbent vendor found out that they were losing the account. They came back to give them, to your point, a 50% price reduction. And the prospect, our new client, held her ground, and she said, and this was what she did with us in role play. When we laid down laid down
this is powerful.
When we laid down that piece of it and said to her, what's it going to sound like? She said, well, their turnaround time was terrible. She said the response time for their customer service department was awful. We told them that we needed a dedicated account manager. They never gave us one. Okay. So then we went through, because that's really what you're doing. I mean, think about it. When you're asking that question, what you're doing is you're going through a role play with your new prospect. So then they know how to manage that situation. Okay. So they come back and they said, what can we do to keep your business? And she said, you can't do anything for me. I told you turnaround times were important. I told you that, that we needed better customer service. I told you we needed an assigned account manager. I've been telling you guys this for months. You didn't do anything about it. And so there's nothing you can do for me. We already prepped her to have that conversation. After she hung up the phone, guess what happened next?
I'm afraid to guess because I might be wrong, but you got a chocolate bar in the mail.
She picked up the phone. Basically, that's right.
Okay.
She literally picked up the phone and called us and said, Chris, guess what? They called. And she goes, and I told them exactly what I said to you on the phone.
Gosh, they must have taken the Sales Arbiter outcome sales process.
Right?
That's it.
So, I mean, that's the difference. The difference is that we're setting up that post-sale compartment. We're making sure that, we're not buying back what we sold, what we sold today.
Well, the only problem I have with that story is before you said true story. Am I to assume everything else you said is a bunch of garbage?
It's a bunch of garbage. Okay. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, that's good. That's a great story.
Thank you.
What's more important? Growing revenue or growing revenue with a process? Because a lot of companies that we work with and a lot of companies that we go to, these are successful companies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're rocking and roll. There's one that I'm thinking of right now that you know of that's doing several million.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because the owners at the beginning were hustling and then they did it. And now they just got business coming and it's just piling on top of each other.
Right.
And it's all, verkocht, but they're making a lot of loot.
Yeah, they are. They are. A very successful business, but they don't have the processes in place.
But why do they need it? They're already successful. Why do they need it?
I'm going to toss this one back to you because I think that when you're the one that uncovered that opportunity for us in the first place. I mean, you saw the writing on the wall before I ever walked in there to talk to them about the need structure for a process, for a sales process, the organizational structure that they need, all these things that they truly needed, and that we uncovered during our engagement with them. But you tell me, I mean, what did you first see?
Well, I saw a couple of guys that needed to eventually sell their business.
Right.
And the way the business was being run,
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't be able to sell it at a price that would make them happy.
Why?
Because it's all verkocht.
But explain to our viewers and
Everybody
listeners.
knows what verkocht. You know what verkocht means, right?
But I know that you know what it means. But
it's like verblunget.
Oh, that's even
does
better.
That help it?
Oh,
Does that
yeah,
help
it really helps. It really helps.
It's like famish.
Oh,
famish,
that's even
verkocht, verblunget. It's all over the place.
There we go.
It's everything's all over the place.
Uh-huh.
And things are just happening, and that's what happens in a lot of businesses. I mean, because they're rocking and rolling, and you're making things happen, and you're getting customers here, and then your shelves are full, and so you make new shelves, I've been into companies where I've seen their brochures and their marketing pieces from 5 years ago that have never been mailed.
Right.
And like the 5 years ago, and then from 4 years ago, and from 3 years ago, but they keep buying the new thing, but it never gets out, and then it gets outdated, so they don't know what to do with it, so they just leave it there for good kindling wood. But the challenge is they're still getting business. But when you see something like that, somebody who wants to buy it, it's just like, it's like the art of the deal, Donald Trump said. The definition of a loser is a for sale sign on a dirty car. And so that's what it's, because someone's going to lowball you. And even if you're making a lot of money in the company, they think that it's only being run by the two owners. And if the owners decide to leave, everything, nobody knows where anything is. And so you turn a viable business and a business sale into an asset sale just for the products.
That's right. So here, and let me just boil that down to even just a very small idea that I'm sure that most of our viewership and listenership, they can actually, they can actually connect with, which is this. 90% of people out there, maybe even more, but 90% of people, they eat with their eyes. And what I mean by that is my parents were in the restaurant business for 40 years. And my father would never, ever, ever let us send a dish out to a table that didn't look delicious.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because guess what? If it looks good, it tastes good. I mean, how many times have we gone to a 5-star French restaurant or a 3-star restaurant or even just your favorite restaurant, and it comes out and the food is hot and it looks delicious and your mouth is watering. I mean, that's just one small conceptual thing that you can take throughout your whole, sales event, sales process. That kind of leverages what you were talking about.
It's the salesperson too. You need to be right. Not everybody is graced with your good looks.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
Don't
We
stop.
have to do that.
No, don't stop.
Okay,
don't
you
stop.
want more? People do want more. Even when you know it's a lie,
it
still feels good.
It still feels good. Yeah, that's right. Thanks for telling me it was a lie.
Just keep on doing it. Doesn't matter.
Wow.
Still good's coming out.
Wow.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. Let me ask you this: in terms of in sales and the salesperson, what's something that someone can do quickly to make a good first impression with people?
I think I love what you talk about. Even when you're opening up the conversation, and you're asking for help. That you're actually engaging in a way that doesn't sound like the car salesman, right? and really thinking to yourself, hey, this is another person. I'm just having a conversation, and that's what. So every conversation needs to start like a conversation and not like a sales pitch.
That's right.
Right? I mean, you're a master of that.
I don't know about that, but there's 3 things that people want to give you if you ask for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I make it a point to ask for these things. One is help that we talked about. One, if you can help me, because people just have a need to give help.
Right.
I remember as a kid, before GPS, some people would get lost. People don't get lost anymore. I mean, so they would stop and you'd see somebody, and sometimes I'm a kid, I'm on the side of the road.
They do get lost when they don't have service.
That's right.
When they don't have cell phone service, they get lost.
It took the whole kind of, fight out of the car because, used to be, I'm not asking for directions. And, the wife would always say, ask for directions. I'm not asking for directions. I know where I'm going. Now it's just GPS. But anyway, people used to ask for directions to you on the side of the road. And I remember someone asked me to go. I was a kid. I didn't know how to drive anywhere, but I was so compelled. They said, do you know how to get to Morlot Ave? And I didn't know where it was. I was so compelled to give them an answer, I made it up. Because I just wanted to give them an answer. I didn't want to say I don't know. It's like I had that much need to help.
So awesome.
So always ask for help. That's one. You can ask for somebody's opinion. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got one, and they're more than happy to give it to them.
That's right.
And so what's your opinion on the day's events? What's your opinion on this? Or what do you think is your idea of the best way we can do it? Or I can ask your opinion. If I wanted to speak with X, what would be the best way that you would say I should go there?
Great.
Which is really good. People love to give an opinion. Kind of makes them feel smart. But the best one, I'm about to slam the table, but I don't want to ruin the audio. I'm thinking only of you, the car buying public. So here, the best one is you want to ask for somebody's advice. Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, not only do you give them the ability to help you,
right.
Not only do you make them feel good by they're giving you their opinion, but asking their advice, you've just called them smart.
Yeah.
You've just paid them a compliment.
I love it.
Nobody in the history of the world has ever asked for advice from a 3-year-old. I mean, they know nothing. What do they know?
Right.
You only ask advice from people that you think are filled with more wisdom than you have.
That's right.
So throw out the advice thing whenever you can.
I love it.
Let me ask your advice on this. So you had something to say?
I got to tell you, because
I was about to interrupt you.
It's bubbling up in me, and I can't stop it. It's
Jump
almost.
in.
Here's the thing. Every single thing that you just said, you started with ask. Ask questions. Keep them engaged. Stop telling your own story because your stuff doesn't matter. Just ask. Ask advice. Ask all these things, and keep the prospect engaged.
The more your customer talks about themselves,
that's right,
the smarter they think you are.
Right. That's exactly right. They know nothing about you, but they absolutely love you.
What a great conversationalist.
They absolutely love you. It's beautiful.
I actually like playing with kids. When my kids were little, there's always one dad who's rolling around, when all the kids are jumping on him and stuff like that. Right. That was like my poor boy Matthew. He was like, he always had to take care of me because I wear glasses, Mm-hmm. So while all his friends, at the birthday, everybody's jumping on me and doing all this stuff, Matthew would slowly walk around. He'd get my eye contact and he'd go like this, and he'd take my glasses for me because I say I got this thing.
Yeah, I see it still happening.
Yeah.
Matthew's 20.
Hurts my ear.
Matthew's 25 years old. He's still doing it.
That's
how he broke your glasses.
21.
Yeah.
That kid is a monster. You know what we did this weekend?
Tell me.
He's 21. He bought a house.
Right.
And he's redoing it, whatever. But he had to redo the electric. We did the electric. Rewired the house and stuff like that. This kid put a new electrical box on the wall, and then added all the breakers and did the whole, and connected it and didn't die.
Wow.
Now, if he can do that, what are you afraid of calling somebody on the phone and saying, hey, you want to can I ask your advice?
Right.
Who do I need to speak with to do business with your company here?
Right.
I mean, it's like electricity. And you know what I learned? This is really cool.
Yeah.
There was one of the breakers that we did. This is completely off topic, but it's interesting. one of the breakers, everything's simple. We don't need to complicate things. But he wanted to set up the dryer. He's had no dryer. And the dryer...
220.
Right.
Right.
So we had 2 wires, and usually, there's a hot wire, and then there's a neutral wire, and then there's a ground wire. But this one had 2 hot wires. And there was no ground. There was no neutral. And I go, what do we do with this? He goes, I don't know. There's a hole here and there's a hole here. And I said, I guess there's 2 hot wires. And so we put them up, and it worked. That's 220. It was 110 plus 110 equals 220. I'm like, oh my gosh, it makes so much.
Whoa, wait a second.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, but you literally blew my mind right there, because when I came to this interview today,
didn't think
Dan,
math, okay.
I didn't think there was gonna.
Yeah.
I thought there would be no math.
But I mean, think of that, how easy that is. But that's what sales is. That's
Right.
what building a team is. That's the whole thing.
Exactly
It's
right.
build 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. In the end, you've won.
Wait,
You've won. How's that? Okay,
Wait.
so here it is. I have a. This is a joke being created on the spot. Okay, so a Hispanic boy just for the first time was victorious in a game of soccer, and he went home and told his dad. Ready?
Ready.
Or his friend, whose name was Juan. He says, "Hey Juan, we won. We won 1-1. Juan, we won." No,
I don't understand. I don't even
liked it.
I don't even understand how that happened.
I don't know where that came from. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna finish this in the charge.
It's the charge.
Okay, in the charge. Something really important for salespeople. It's something I learned actually from a manager a long time ago.
Okay.
I had a big sale like this, like you talked about, $200,000, $300,000, whatever it was, and it blew up, and I was deeply depressed.
Right.
And worried, this whole thing. This was really early on in my career. And I had a manager, Jeff Factor. This was as a stockbroker. And Jeff, he talked to me, and he was a good manager, probably the only good manager I've ever known. And sat me down, and he goes, I don't know much about anything, he said. But I'll tell you this. In the grand scheme of things, this is not even a blip on your career. There will be a time where you not only forgot about it, you forgot the name. You're going to forget exactly you're going to forget everything about this incident. It's a nothing. Don't give it another thought.
There we go.
He's absolutely right. I can't remember the whole thing. All I remember is Jeff Factory taking me to his office and saying, this is a nothing for you. Pay it no mind. Keep moving on.
There we go.
That's the Charge Podcast. You guys go get them today. Thanks so much for listening.